My dear followers, unfortunately, I will not be able to voice this video due to having lost my voice. I am dreadfully ill at the moment. So instead, this kind fellow, God save him, may this man's name be uttered out, even amongst the most mighty of rulers of the many nations of the earth, and may the wind and the water proclaim his name. This fellow right here. Subscribe to his Twitch, which is in the description, for he will be narrating the episode proper, as I am unable to. Right. Let us get to it.
Welcome back, comrades. I hope basic training was not too hard. Now, onto the topic of the night.
Brother Savovich, you have yet to execute Protocol 10.
Oh, great. Squires, you all remember the witch hunter, Sir Augustine? Not even a hello, your holiness?
I don't have time for pleasantries, Slav. Get it done, quickly.
You're asking me to abandon my men in the middle of orientation.
I'm asking you to do your job, nothing less and nothing more. Now I'm off to the town square where I expect news of a successful operation.
Well, Squires, I guess that concludes this class. Shit, I know. I will play one of the propaganda films, history films from the church. Right. I must go. Z Bogom.
Aftermath of the Ultimate's heresy, the princes of the church faced a terrible dilemma. Never had the faith needed its finest warriors as desperately as now, when the armies of hell threatened all creation, and yet the traitors that brought this greatest of calamities came from the very ranks of the holy military orders sworn to protect the church. How could the faithful trust their knights ever again, as they had proven to be so susceptible to temptation? After much deliberation, the Council of Saints offered a solution. To demonstrate repentance for the great heresy of the Templars, every single Crusader knight was to swear an oath of penance. Whomever joined one of the military orders of their free will is condemned to damnation, but with one path to salvation: dying in glorious battle against the infernal powers. Should they meet their end due to illness, accident, or old age, they would be denied the last rites and buried in unmarked pits of the damned. Their vows are enforced by the 4 rites of passage, which not only enhance their bodies, but also bind them to their holy oath in this world and the next. This made any further heresy impossible, albeit at the price of an initiate's soul. There are thousands of different Crusader orders from across Christendom. Some, like the Knights Hospitaller, are officially sanctioned by the Church, with entire armies under their direct command. Other orders are small, with but a handful of dedicated zealots, whilst others are not even sanctioned by the Church at all. These might come from strange sects with bizarre beliefs that are uncomfortably close to heretical, such as the Order of Iscariot. The Church tolerates their existence as long as they focus all their resources on the Great War, and the 4 rites bind them to fighting the heretics. Some Crusaders balk at the 4 rites they must undergo, and if they refuse to do them are cast out, hated by everyone they meet. Some of these exiles form pitiful bands in order to survive. Others are tempted by the promises of the archdevils, and fight under the banner of one of these powerful lords of hell. Many of the Crusader orders have foregone the static chapter houses and commanderies from ages past, and instead opt for chapter hulls. These great machines with caterpillar treads, surmounted by a stone or iron keep, and bristling with statues and weaponry. There the Crusaders carry out the various tasks of monastic life, all while travelling to the deadliest regions of the Trench Crusade. They seek out the most vicious, brutal, and deadly enemies and battles. This serves a dual purpose of the knights never settling in one place too long, for they are admired for their prowess in the Great War, and loathed for their ultimate heresy in equal measure. The amplified chants of the Crusaders as they march to war in their thrice-blessed armour can be heard echoing across the battlefield, striking fear in any opponent who follows the path of damnation. Entry into the Crusader orders is strictly regulated by certain tests and rites unique to each, but there are 4 rites of passage that enforce their oath are as follows. The first rite: propagation of the faith. The Crusader novitiate is subjected to a months-long period of indoctrination, both through studying the precepts of the Crusader order, as well as being subjected to endless broadcasts of propaganda films from the Ministry of the Propagation of Virtue. The lessons are fed directly into the optic nerves of the initiates by the esoteric, mind-altering machines of the Ministry. The second rite: the chemical baptism. The Crusader is immersed in a bath of powerful holy chemicals, specifically created to change their body chemistry and grant great strength and stamina. This comes at a cost, as the terrible fumes ruin their lungs, making it necessary for them to breathe from tanks of oxygen and rinsed with incense. Their larynx, usually riddled with cancers, is removed, and in their place an amplifier is installed, allowing them to speak. The third rite: the armour of God. The Crusader is then taken to the Order's surgeons, where they must endure the most painful rite. Their bodies are inscribed with gilded arcs of scripture, the words of their God written in golden ink across their body as well as within. Their body is flayed open and an oath of penance inscribed upon their very bones, after which they are sewn up and left to heal. These holy scripts ensure immediate death and damnation should the knight waver in their commitment to God and Church. The fourth rite: healing visions. After their painful surgery, the Crusader is taken to the healing ward. Their recuperation might take several months, and the entire time they are subjected to a battery of powerful mind-altering drugs. The Crusader's mind is open to what surely must be the voice of God, and there are many scribes huddled around these recuperating Crusaders, furiously scribbling as they attempt to capture each prophetic utterance. Since the beginning of the Great War some 800 years ago, the faithful have faced a problem that is seemingly impossible to overcome. They are unable to take the battle to the enemy. For such is the supernatural power of the open gate to hell, that even approaching within the sighting distance of it is impossible for all but the most strong-willed and pious. Within the inferno awaits domains of the lost and legions of devils. But in utmost secrecy the Church produced an answer to this quandary: the Paladin program. Paladins are by far the greatest creations of the Mendelist order of monks. They are near-perfect communicants, for in their veins flows the purest blood that the Meta-Christ program has been able to produce. Paladins are warriors with such physical stature and inner holiness that they can not only approach Jerusalem's Vale of Tears, but also enter the very gates of Inferno and undertake missions within hell itself, and return to tell the tale. Each is said to represent near perfection of human form, both mind and body. Though much scarred and burned from long centuries of war, they have been forced to endure for the sake of all creation. Paladins reside in secluded cells within a secret wing of Castel Sant'Angelo. until the hour comes and the Council of Saints sends them forth to do battle. In such time, the paladin emerges from their seclusion. They go to their arming chamber and kneel at the centre upon the mosaic of the militant Christ the Lion. They are then armed and armoured by blinded and gelded serfs, for no impure gaze or carnal desire is to fall upon the paladin by the servants of the church, and briefed on their mission by one of the cardinal generals. They are given the last rites prehumously should they fall, for there is no mission more dangerous than war within Gehenna. Originally there were 12 paladins, but now only 9 remain. 2 have fallen in battle, and it is rumoured one has turned traitor, although the church vehemently denies such slander upon pain of death. Despite ceaseless efforts, the Holy Mentalist Order has been able to produce even a single new paladin in the last 3 centuries. It has proven just as difficult to replace their holy armour and weaponry. Since the destruction of the holy city of Jerusalem, it has not been possible to harvest more Golgothic tektites required for the machining process for the paladins' armaments. Thus, their elaborate suits of armour, despite the infinite care of the dicastery of the service of church militant disciples, are much scarred, burned, and corroded, and many of the pieces of armour have been slated to be reforged in a vain hope that even the tiniest shard of the required materials could be recovered. Thus, each paladin is forced to endure searing pain like no earthly suffering, where their armour has weakened, relying on their unshakable faith during their lonely crusades into perdition. Each of the 9 circles of hell has its own foul atmosphere and deadly environment, from noxious fumes to the burning heat or coldness far below absolute zero, requiring a specific suit of armour to withstand the infernal elements. Thus, when a paladin enters the gates of hell, they know they must succeed alone or die trying. No help will be forthcoming, not even from one within their own order. Paladins are used only under the orders of the Council of Saints, and even then extremely sparingly. Each mission they undertake must bring great and tangible benefits for the Church and the overall war effort, and its long-term benefit must be determined by the synod of strategic prophecy. Paladins are tasked with missions such as exterminating key nobles of hell, destroying laboratories, creating some new devastating variant of the Black Grail, or interrogating devils with holy fire and blood of the Lamb until they reveal secret plans the Council requires to learn. Pictured here is Geren, the paladin of the 3rd circle of hell. He stands some 17 feet tall when arrayed for battle. Paladin of the 4th circle, sent alone into the depths of hell, this paladin is trained specifically to destroy the demons of the 4th circle. The blade's inscription reads, "God has numbered the days of your kingdom and brought it to an end. You have been weighed and found wanting." Or the famous Saint Dominica of the Swaihander. Her prowess with the weapon was legendary, and she was considered blessed by God to be able to wield such a blade. She charged the enemy ranks during the Battle of Absalom, but fell to a pupil seraph when the charge faltered and her unit was cut down, and gained the crown of martyrdom. But there aren't just crusaders and Saracens in this war, nay, for it is not only against flesh and blood that we do battle with, but with the very princes of hell, the cults of the heathen horde, and the grail of evil. But that is a story for another day.
I would like to thank you, my loyal audience, for providing me, your humble law person, a chance to discuss this with you. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Comrade Battlefield Beaver for lending his voice for Sir Augustine, the Witch Learner General, And of course, our dear friend, Shrubbery, who I mentioned at the beginning, is a damn fine bloke. God save him.